Well, hello and welcome to Mind Your Mind podcast. Here in Mind Your Mind podcast, we talk about life, mind, universe, everything, and nothing at all. My name is Uncle Joe. I'm here with the amazing Henna Malik. Hi, Henna. How are you doing today?
Hi, Ozan. Doing very well, and I always get to get better when I'm here.
Oh, you're shining. Is that why? You're shining today.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think I'm using a yellow light here. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, or the glow is coming from inside. That's also possible.
Maybe could be. Thank you for that. And okay, so I think we have a very shining topic today to discuss as well. Perhaps it's that effect.
Could be.
Can you talk about what it is?
Well, actually, I have a feeling it's gonna be deep. So this one's about differentiating between the authentic and self-serving emotional intelligence. So I think we all have like experiences and stories about this one, both from self-awareness to ourselves when we do some stuff to be true to ourselves, or when we do something to be good enough or to be, this kind of thing. So we need to separate what is coming naturally and what's not coming naturally, and what's learned behavior. So, but I think it's about to get really, really deep.
Right, right. I think so too, because emotional intelligence itself is a vast area of, uh, I would say, it's a vast area of improvement for all of us, because we are yet to figure out uh, the the ways in which we can succeed in it and how we can employ it for our benefit as well as for the people around us. Uh, what I believe is that emotional intelligence has uh, mainly three pillars, beginning with self-awareness and going further to empathy and listening to others, genuine listening, what we call. uh, when I say self-awareness, it is important and it is primary because everything starts with your own self. If you are if you know what you're feeling, if you know what you're thinking, you understand yourself, you understand your emotions, that's the beginning of understanding others. You need to be self-aware first, and then that's when you can step into uh, the 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 area of empathy, where you put yourself in other person's shoes and understand and share their viewpoints, and and that would happen through active listening, through genuine active listening. Now, these are some things that we know of, but when it comes to employing these things, because of lack of self awareness, we sometimes tend to pretend that, okay, we are listening to you, and I would nod my head, perhaps I would sit like this, uh, just so that I can make you comfortable while you're speaking, and you think that I'm genuinely listening to you, but maybe I'm lost in my own world, or maybe there is a need for me to, there's an emotional need underlying that if I listen to you, then you will also listen to me. So perhaps I'm serving myself by pretending a display of active listening in front of you. So could be. And this is all subconscious. It doesn't mean that I'm a sociopath or we are all sociopaths. It's not that. But especially at workplaces, in corporate scenarios, this is a leadership requirement, in order to
I was
be
just gonna say
successful.
you described the corporations right now in a nutshell.
Yeah, you to be a good leader, we all know you need to be empathetic with your teammates, and you need to be understanding, you need to listen to them, give them critical feedback, take critical feedback from them. All these are signs of emotional intelligence, and which you need to have You need to show this at workplace. This is mandatory. You can still skip it in real life, in your relationships, and people will understand you, but you can't do that at your workplace because it's mandatory. So that's where I think the pretense, the fakeness comes in. And today we have tools like AI which can help us to create that fake mask. They uh, when I talk to chat gpt and I ask about, uh, okay, what should I eat for dinner? I feel this. I have this at home, and I feel like having this. Suggest a recipe. It's not that it's responding to me through a feeling. It will give me a suggestion which will look very real, which will look uh, very friendly. It'll look like a friend. I'm talking to a friend who is giving me genuine advice, but at the end, it's just technology. It's just an input and output of information, and that's
No
it.
spirit behind it. Right?
No spirit, no soul. Like there's
Yeah.
no heart behind it. Uh, I, but it can make me feel good temporarily, and it can solve the purpose. And that's how, sometimes people also do, by learning to display fake emotional intelligence. There is, again, a genuine need for us to, like how we say, you're not getting the vibe of it. What exactly is that vibe? That is this this vibration of genuine energy, this genuine feeling of being connected to someone. That is what we all want, but it's very hard to find.
Very hard to find. I'm honestly like, I, I've been thinking about it for the last couple of weeks actually, and I had a couple of down moments to tell you the truth because there were a lot of times I feel kind of alone because I feel like I'm not listened or I'm not heard. Especially in the corporate environment, I think people feel that a lot because people are
Hmm.
not treated in a humanly way.
Right.
When I talk to people sometimes in this corporate environment, of course, it's just like talking to AI sometimes because it's learned behavior, as you said. People are learned that they smile and nod when they are listening to you, but it doesn't really mean that they are listening to you.
Yeah, they're trying to show with all good intentions, and it is also helping the speaker in a way. But at the same time, it because it is false, it cannot go on till, like, I might lose my calm when you are speaking over the board, or you are speaking for a lengthy period of time. Then I might just feel that, okay, enough of pretension here, and now I'm feeling sleepy. Yawn. So
You can
so
get tired of acting,
you
right?
can get, yes, you can get tired of acting, and that's the whole point. So when you are genuinely doing something, you there's a good chance that you never get tired of it, because that's your real trait and you enjoy doing that. But when you're pretending, that's when, it's easily visible, if not immediately, but it'll be visible over a period of time.
Of course. I mean, overall, it's a human connection. It's
Hmm.
something you feel, right? It's not. We are not robots. So when you're talking to a person, you're not okay. You're watching the body language and you're watching the tone and these kind of things, but still, your internal emotions and feelings they come up. No matter what you've learned, you know, you can learn. People are learning everything these days. All the soft skills they are learned. There are courses I have shown that like how to learn to be a like human leader, that to show more emotion and empathy and so on like that. And all I can think of is like, well, you don't need to learn to become a human if
Hmm.
you listen to the human inside. And that naturally brings those humanly emotions. That naturally brings the empathy. If you don't have empathy, don't act
Hmm.
like you have one. That's because that's worse.
Right. But what about, feels like a medical profession where a doctor has to go up to the patient or the relatives of the patient with the bad news after a medical test. Like, of course, the doctor would have a certain amount of sympathy, but we can't be really sure that the doctor would be empathetic, because in order to understand the patient and the relatives in the same way as they are feeling right now could be difficult, because a doctor has so many patients to deal with. He cannot be empathetic with everybody equally, right? So I think that's where uh, this coaching of AI comes in, where you they can uh, it can help doctors generate ways of communicating with the patients, uh, by just by through a script. Like, we would know if we conducted a research study on this problem, but the patients would not know, and it would comfort the patient and his family.
Like a white lie.
Not a lie, but uh I would say a much needed pretense, a well intended pretense,
Hmm.
because the intention behind is good. It's just that, the communication cannot be uh, the communication needs a little work.
Hmm.
So if it's coming from a machine and a human is interpreting it with some uh, you know uh, sprinkles of emotions here and there which are needed, I think it gives a temporary relief. It gives a comfort to the family and the patient, at least for that period of time. And I think that's where this AI thing comes in handy. That's where uh, this fakeness comes in handy. However, if the doctor has a self-serving motive behind it, to be recognized as a good doctor by being empathetic, that is not acceptable.
That's fake.
Yes.
I mean, like, I wouldn't understand the scenario where you don't naturally have empathy. Like, don't we have all?
We do. I mean, we can try to it's not that we naturally have empathy. We do have natural humanness, but that humanness needs to be worked on, to be put a little effort on, to understand the emotions of others, and to understand all the emotions that the other people are feeling around you. You need to first know what emotions are you able to feel the best yourself.
Hmm.
Like, what are the dominant emotions, what are the dominant thoughts in your personality.
Hmm.
And well, once you have that self awareness, once you have that self understanding, you will be able to manage your emotions. Just like I'm reminded of your book right now, A Lean Mind, wherein you talk about managing emotions, but before that, the awareness is important. So first step is self awareness, then the management of emotions, like controlling the negative thoughts, controlling the negative emotions, and then comes the uh, you know making positive choices, of choosing good and positive feelings and emotions.
Hmm.
So once this mastery is done, that is when you can take a step ahead and you know work on your empathetic skills, where you can recognize a wider range of emotions of other people around you.
That makes sense because you might be feeling an emotion like very intensely and you might be acting from it, but if you're not aware, like maybe you don't feel the empathy because you're completely focused on something that you think that you need. and
Mhm.
then you just disregard everything else, but you don't exactly know why you need that.
Right. And I think the most that, of course, I'll go back to uh, slowing down here and being less busy, because this is one parameter which is preventing us from succeeding in EI, in emotional intelligence. One important aspect is that we are so busy in the daily grind of our lives that we hardly have time to sit with ourselves and feel what we are feeling. Like, we tend to ignore our own emotions. You can only imagine how good we are with others. Of course, when we escape this daily grind and meet ourselves, that's when we understand that these feelings are important, and these feelings are worth recognizing and worth acting on. And then you once you know that these feelings, how important they are to you, you would know that how important they could be to someone else who's feeling it. And that's when you start building empathy. Busyness, lack of self-awareness are the things that are making us fail on the emotional level. And we are becoming, and even if we try to, become a little self-aware, that's where we stop, because we feel that, we need, once we know that we need this at an emotional level, we start displaying uh, feelings of empathy which we might not be feeling. Like, for example, um, you need to boost your ego and feel like a hero in a particular situation. What you will do is you will try to make the other person feel comfortable, because you want them to see you as someone, as a rescuer, someone as a hero.
Hmm.
So there's an agenda behind this, and anything that comes with an agenda is not genuine, because it is actually serving your own emotional need of being a hero in this situation, being a rescuer in this situation. And that's why I'm helping you, because I want you to recognize me as a superior person who understands everyone, who is good to everyone, who's kind to everyone, who is a good Samaritan. So again, if I'm working with this bottom line in my mind, I am being fake to you. I am only being a self-serving, empathetic person.
You're fake, and also it will, I think the understanding that will give you a lot of freedom, because self-serving emotional intelligence, it puts a little bit of expectation to get something in return, like a recognition in return. Therefore, if you're doing it for the other person's well-being, because you care, because you have the empathy, then you will expect nothing in return, right? So just by doing it, you will feel so much lighter, happier, fulfilled. But once you do it in order to get some recognition or get some status or power over other person, then basically, if you don't get that back, then you
Hmm.
will feel like you just gave something and you didn't get something back. So it will give you the exact opposite of satisfaction or fulfillment.
Right, right, right. And similarly, when it comes to listening, active listening, uh, I would we tend to pretend sometimes to be listening to people actively, because we want them to feel like, if I have a counter response to you, for example, I already have a counter response to you in my head, but I pretend that I'm listening to you and then I'm coming up with a response. So, how does that help me? It helps me in a way that you feel that I have taken your information, I have analyzed it, I have worked on it, and now I'm coming up with a response to it. So it might be right. So it's like, my personal need to be right in front of you could be masked in in the in the face of active listening,
Yeah.
in the face of being a genuine listener. Perhaps I already had this planned, like I'm going to say this at this point of time, and you'll be like, okay, this came at the right time because I have also spoken about it and she has listened to me actively. I think she has understood what I said, and now she has come up with this, so it might be all right. Like it's a two-way consent, but actually it is only my thing. I'm making you agree to it by tricking you that I have listened to you. Not that I'm really doing it, but this is how, we humans tend to uh, sometimes act subconsciously, because I think of course, there is emotional need, and then there's lack of time. You know, we are in so much rush always. Like, just just skip everything and jump to the conclusion. We don't have time to discuss. We don't have time to brainstorm. Even if we do have time, we feel it's a waste of time because we already know what it is going to end in. So
Yeah.
so
But
sometimes we
yeah,
just close ourselves for those discussions, those genuine, pure brainstorming discussion.
and you're
Listen.
missing out so much, right? You disregard everyone who's trying to help you or they're on your team. You just disregard all of them and try to go on your own and take the load. And
Yes,
doesn't really make sense.
it shuts all the doors in you to take in some helpful information, to take in some extra knowledge, which you might need later, which you might need right now and you don't know, like you're so self absorbed.
Exactly. And we have something to learn from everybody. And, you know, anybody at this time can tell you something that you don't. And we just disregard this most of the time. And I think it's because we are really focusing on things. And
Mm.
as you said, the self awareness is very important here because lack of self awareness can really make you go with a tunnel vision
Hmm.
that you're just running for something, you're focused on something, and you're just missing out on everything. You're missing out on the inputs you can have from a conversation. Like even a minute of conversation with someone that you barely know or something can give you so much new things or new approach or anything or brainstorming session or these kind of things. But you just disregarding all of them and going for your whatever it is that you're craving for. Maybe you don't even need that, or maybe you can achieve that better if you let other people in, but we don't, right?
Yeah, and like, for example, if I know, I'm self aware that I am an impatient person, uh, I would definitely know when I'm with someone else and the person is speaking to me and I'm trying to pay attention, I am trying to listen, I am trying to be active listening, active listener there. I would still know deep inside that I'm not giving my 100% to this person. I'm still not giving my 100% because through my self analysis, I know that I am an impatient person. So I need to work on this particular skill to develop my emotional intelligence here. So that's where self awareness comes in. Like, you are already aware of your impatience. You are working on your patience level, and that's how you become a good listener. And that's
And
how your EI increases, your EQ.
exactly, I'm pretty much the same actually. I'm very impatient and I can really get lost. But that's why you can give the feedback to the people, and I give feedback to the people around me because I can really get zoned out. I can really zone out, but I give this feedback to people like if it gets long, I'm sorry, I can't pay attention. Can we get back to it later on? Because
Yes.
I'm not in the mental capacity to do that. Or in the beginning, I say, let's start from what your conclusion is, and then go back to the story because sometimes that helps me. But giving that input, actually, I improve the quality of the conversations I'm having sometimes because
Hmm.
I can get much more out of this person, much more out of this conversation. We can coexist together. Why should I just reject that? Right?
It comes with the lifestyle we are living in. So your intentions can be pure. Maybe you yourself don't know that you lack this patience of listening, or uh, this level of sometimes you just don't know that this zoning out can be prevented by working a little on your emotional intelligence skills.
If you know yourself, you can work on it. And if you
Hmm.
know yourself, you can work through it, find workarounds or solve it actually. But there's nothing wrong with not being 100% all the time. Also, like, and nobody expects you to. That's perfectly okay, I think. And it is like, are you being real or are you just faking it? And I think if you're faking it, it's a lot worse because you might have missed a lot of stuff.
Yes. What is wrong is when you're trying to uh, misuse uh, this power of EI to engineer responses out of people that
Manipulate.
that work in your benefit. So yes, this manipulation which you are very aware of doing, if you're not aware of something, it's a separate thing. But when you're aware that this is going to give you an outcome which is going to help you boost your ego, then it's a problem.
Straightforward manipulation,
Yes.
uh, in my
Yes.
in my opinion. I mean, it's it might work in your favor, but I see these things as unethical because I think, yeah, it's lawfully it's probably not, but as soon as you are not real to other human being, no matter if it's a work or it's a personal matter, you are you're giving a wrong impression to them. You're giving wrong hopes, or you're giving wrong personification of yourself. That's lying, and that's manipulation, and I think that's just unethical, in my opinion. And I can see when people do that. Sometimes I don't, and you learn it later on. But eventually, you realize these hidden agendas and so on. I was
Mhm.
actually I suffered a lot from this from my life because I don't like to do those things. It's against my nature. I would feel guilty if I do those things, so I don't really do that. But of course, it impacts a lot because, like, it's harder to get power over someone. So I was actually trying to learn a lot about power, how to be more powerful, and so on, like that. There are really good ways of being powerful, but there are also wrong ways. What I think is being
Mhm.
powerful. And for example,
Mhm.
one of the books I was reading on that was 48 Laws of Power, something like that. It was
Mhm.
actually a very useful book in a way that if you want some manipulation techniques, it's good because they work. But I couldn't finish it because it was like, oh my god, that's just evil. That's just evil because every time you're lying straightforward to a person, if it doesn't have good intentions but only self-serving, then I think it's evil. It works. It worked on many people. It's working right now in most powerful people. Then again, can you live with yourself then? I would rather be 100% true to myself.
Mhm.
Show people this is me.
Yes. And while you were speaking, Ozan, I was thinking, is this one of the major reasons why even successful people who appear to be successful on the outside feel hollow on the inside? Sometimes we feel that we have achieved so much, but still it is not giving us the satisfaction that we thought of, that we really wanted. And I think this is the satisfaction that you have climbed up the ladder through by displaying things that were not you, by wearing different sorts of masks at every level. And now that you are on top, you really don't recognize yourself. I don't know, at the
Yeah.
cost of sounding really deep, I think I this is something that I feel uh, is really making us less contented as human beings, because successful people are usually unhappy.
Also, it's about, again, I think we can really circle back to fulfillment episode. What we did here is like,
Yeah.
what is really fulfilling in that matter? And here, without the self awareness, nothing will fulfill you. No amount of money or no amount of power can fulfill you if you don't feel satisfaction and fulfillment in your life with yourself.
Hmm.
And you can get many things out from other people in the material world. You can steal. Stealing is not that hard. You can
Hmm.
find ways to steal, or you can find ways to manipulate people. Yes, there are psychological things that work, but if you don't have that inner fulfillment, that whatever you will get out of it will not give you that fulfillment. And if you already have that, if you look into yourself, have the self-awareness, you're fulfilled with who you are, then you don't need to use any of these tips or tricks or whatever it is, because you're yourself, and you're okay with yourself, and this is me, and this is we are having conversation right here.
Hmm. Yes, I like we have been told all our lives that, we have learned that success means being perfectly educated, or being healthy, thin, fit, or marrying at the right age, or earning a huge salary. These are this is the definition of success in most of our minds.
And just listening to that gives me stress.
Yes, because we feel if we have accomplished this on the checklist, we should be successful. Like these are the parameters of being successful. But in achieving all these things, we are so busy thinking about these goals and looking at them as achievements, again, to be marked off on a list, that we lose sight of the process, like how we are achieving these things. In doing so, we actually become uh, less effective at the things that we are trying to do. The process is, the whole process is designed to make us uh, make to rush us in a way that we become less and less emotionally intelligent, because we are so busy in reaching the destination. We It's about learning the skills of self control, self management, self direction, all empathy. All these skills take a backseat because we want to reach our goals so fast. In fact, to succeed and to find meaning in that success, we must give, we must be meaningful givers to others, in terms of time, in terms of energy, rather than just being so self absorbed and be busy in taking for ourselves. The right approach to follow this process of success is to actually have meaningful conversations with people and genuinely give to others.
When you're speaking, it's like I was thinking about learning to actively listen, or learning to give good feedback, or learning to show empathy. These are like learning to breathe or eat. Like you're trying to learn something that deep inside you know already how to do.
Hmm.
It's like breathing. Actually, there are a lot of books and stuff about breathing, like what's the correct breathing. But we have so much intelligence, a lot,
Yes.
like i- amazingly intelligent we are. Like, if you really don't think, like, you can somehow live. Your body, your instincts, they know how to live, they know how to breathe, they know how to eat, they know how to drink water, they know how to move, they know how to build connections and society. It is literally in our instincts. That's what draws us to other people.
Hmm.
But as we don't be true to ourselves, and we completely focus on these, you know it could be anything, like huge, deep, like intense emotions or core beliefs inside us, or maybe trauma responses. Without working on that, without understanding why we are doing the things, we completely focus on them and we just turn down all the information that we actually have. We forget how to eat. We try to learn what is the correct way to eat. We try to figure out how to speak to other people. But like
Hmm.
it can't be that hard, man. Just it's literally like this is how we learn to do it in the first place. We are born to
Right,
live together, right?
right, right. And even if it's so basic, it's still a good reminder that regardless of how much money or prestige we achieve in life, that achieving the us rather than focusing on me is truly where the biggest payoff is at life. No, that's the real success. uh, every other thing is secondary if it's good to have, but this is primary. This is like the basic need. We are social animals for a reason. We are called social animals for a reason, because uh, nobody can be so self focused that they enjoy that just self centered life. We do not really enjoy it in the long run. We might like it for a brief period of time, but then it kind of stops us from developing as human beings. From it stops our growth, it stops our personality development. So yeah, I think it's always a collective phenomena to move ahead with people, and that's the real success. It's never one person, because that's how these phrases are made, right? It's lonely at the top. Why is it lonely at the top? Because you reach the top with through wrong intentions. Maybe your intentions were good, but through wrong ways. You did not really enjoy the process, and that's why you are feeling lonely at the top.
Yeah, you touched a very good topic, I think there. Like, yeah, it's we are born like that in a society, right? And I think it's one of the most natural, like, deep desires of every single human being is to be
Hmm.
loved, is to be accepted, is to be respected by other people. And I think nobody can deny that. If you're denying that, then you're either lying or you didn't really get deep enough in yourself. That's like literally we all have this. But when it gets lost in the mind somewhere and you don't know that it exists and you put so much things on top of it, you are doing many things to actually reach that, but
Hmm.
you don't know that you actually do that. So most of the things are to feel some sort of love and acceptance from the others.
Hmm.
But the question is, I think, is if you're doing it from the point of view that you don't have it and you need to get it from the other people no matter what, from the craving point of view, from the lacking point of view,
Hmm.
or you give it to yourself and you you feel like you have it already, and then I think that gives you a lot different point of view where you're not craving for something, you won't do dirty tactics or whatever manipulation tactics because you don't need someone else's love or respect or whatever it is because you feel okay with yourself, then it won't get lonely and top, I think.
I think this is the beauty of what our brainstorming sessions, our episodes, that they act as great reminders, at least to me, when I'm talking about these things. I might not be able to follow them uh, always. I might not be able to follow this today. I'm speaking about it, but implementing on it, I might just forget today. Like, okay, I spoke about this thing. I need to apply this in my life. And when I'm feeling a little low at and you facing the consequences of my actions, that's when I get my answers. Like, why is this happening? I get the answers to those through my own words, through your words, when I open this podcast. This is, and I think that's how I feel that we are doing good work. This gives me satisfaction because even if we are able to help out just one person who is who is seeking, I think that's a job well done,
One insight to one person can change a lot,
right?
because then that person is gonna go around and act differently to others, and it's shared.
Yeah,
It's
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 spreading
moved
out,
on. Yeah,
spreading out the goodness.
exactly. Just like the badness. Badness spreads out until someone stops it, and goodness spreads until someone stops it.
Unfortunately, the badness spreads more. It's more uh, likely to spread. It's very contagious. Goodness takes time, but it is for life. Once you have it, you will never lose it.
Exactly. But the more darkness there is, then more valuable the light is.
Hmm.
Oh my god, I
True.
just came up with it. Yeah.
True. Oh God. Coming up with
Yeah.
quotes now.
Sounds like from Star Wars or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah.
What's your takeaway?
Well, my takeaway is, to be honest, my takeaway is that, whatever you may be focused on, if that focus is, question yourself, like if you are, if this is your goal for the other, like this is your immediate plan or goal, try to look at it from every angle. How is it working for you, and how much it is uh acting as a barrier to other people around you. If 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 the consequence of achieving that is you lose people around you, or maybe you are trying to boost your ego by getting their positive feedback or getting their positive comments, uh, you need to recheck whether this goal is even uh, worth achieving. So I think my goal, my takeaway would be to focus on things from a more collective point of view than just being, so centered about your own self. That's what I think I'll take away from this. One of my major takeaways.
That's a good one.
All right. Thank you so much, Ozan, for this discussion. I think it opened uh, a lot of new windows in my head. I hope it did the same for you.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's deep. We could talk about it for hours, but I think it's important to reflect back and think about it and realize yourself in situations when you feel you're doing this or someone else is doing this, right?
Right.
So yeah, think about it. If you have a feedback, of course, all the listeners, bring it in the comments. Now, actually, Spotify also has comments, so feel
Hmm.
free to reach out
Right.
to us. And I'm curious about your thoughts as well.
Right. And you don't worry, you can be authentic. You can also be a little fake in the comment section. We take that.
You're right. All right. Well, Henna, great to talk to you again. Take care. Till
Same
next
here.
time.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Azan. Bye bye till we meet the next
Bye.
time.